It is 3:30. We will go ahead and call to order the Del Norte Solid Waste Management Authority, City of Crescent City, County of Del Norte, State of California. This January 16th. Would you please stand for Pledge of Allegiance and begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Cohen?
Here.
Commissioner Greeno?
Here.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Chair Inscore?
I am here. We will open up with public comment. Any member of the public may address the Solid Waste Management Authority on any matter on or off the agenda. After receiving recognition from myself, please state your name and address for the record and try to limit your comments to 3 minutes. Do we have any general public comment this afternoon? Yeah. Come on, Jake.
Good afternoon, Board. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
My name is Jake Smith. I live in the county. And first of all, I want to mention that I'm curious about how the board advertises their public meetings. I didn't see it on your website. The website states that there's no upcoming meetings on there. So I thought I'd pass that on for what it's worth. I did find it on the county calendar, but it wasn't on there Sunday night. So I just wanted to point that out for your benefit, Mr. Ward. And I'm sorry, I should be addressing the board.
That's fine.
So I want to mention that you all are aware of the Pink Hotel that we have and the situation. And I understand that that's being worked on to mitigate the situation there. You may or may not know that now that has become a de facto transfer station. So now we have trash, sofas, bags of trash dumped on the site. It's pretty bad. If you want to see it, drive by and take a look at it. And I suspect it's going to get worse because it provides another opportunity to get rid of trash, because I think the thinking is it's a trash site. I don't know the mentality there. So I do think there needs to be a fence put around that property to keep those dumpers out of there, to be frank. And then beyond that, if it could be done, there's other areas that were cleared, that were burnt and cleared, and those have been cleared. And there was a fence around one of the properties that was taken off. And I think to really do it right, to really make sure that doesn't become a dumping ground until more things are done, I feel that whole area should be fenced somehow, some way. So let me state that. And then secondarily, I know you've had talks about ways to reduce trash, reduce litter. I hope that maybe you might consider that multi-density structures, such as apartments, such as mobile homes, where there's a lot of people, that maybe something could be done, if it hasn't been done, to put bins in there. Some kind of bins or some way for folks to make it easier for folks to get rid of their trash and discards. I think that might help. That population tends to be a little more transient, so you know they're renting and they may move in or move out and they have furniture. And in my travels around town, I see a lot of stuff stacked up around apartments, you know, furniture, other trash that they want to get rid of. So I definitely think if you're considering this, I definitely think it would help to be thinking about including that as well. So I thank you.
All right. Thank you. As soon as public. About
the hotel.
Sure.
Do you want to address the hotel and what's going on so that we can inform the public of what actions are being taken and what we're doing moving forward on that?
Yeah, I can definitely speak
I
about it a
know
little
that's
bit.
kind of just random, but you know what's going on.
That's
and
all right.
can address.
I spoke with Mr. Smith and about it just a little bit ago. I haven't learned about the active trash dumping on site until now, so I'll definitely follow up this week and see if that is the case on that. Otherwise, just the scope of the project, you know, we had the testing done for the asbestos, and then we did a little bit of lead testing, which came back below the federal EPA levels, but it was exceeded the California EPA levels by a little bit. So it was recommended that we do some secondary lead testing and try to isolate the source of that and see if we can get below that threshold or just isolate it to simplify the abatement process on it.
saying, it's my understanding that, I mean, it's private property. Are
Yes.
we able to go in and place a fence as a county or as a board?
It would be an option if that's the direction the board or the county wanted to go with it. And we kind of discussed that just recently as a possible option. I think it would need to be explored more. I don't know, if there'd be liabilities with that or not, or, what would be opening up when we did that.
All right.
Thanks, Dominic.
Thanks, Dominic. Jake, I'll just point out on our website, while it may not be the most intuitive place to find it, but our agendas and minutes are listed under the tab that says About Us, and then it lists a meeting's agendas. So it's not listed as an event like the hazardous waste cleanup would be an event, or the mattress collection would be an event, but under the tab About Us. So if somebody's looking for information about the Solid Waste Management Authority, if you go to recycledelnorte.ca.gov, and if you look for our minutes, you can look at on the tab About Us and pull up the minutes. But thank you for asking about that. There's probably somebody out there right now that has been trying to figure out how to find it, and it may be that staff looks at that and says maybe there's a better way to make it more intuitive. So thank you. See, that's what I'm talking about. You be part of the solution.
Problem solved.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, any other public comment? All right, seeing no other public comment, we'll close public comment, and then we are going to move to our one timed item. So we are going to adjourn from the Solid Waste Management Authority and reconvene as the Abandoned Vehicle Abatement Authority. All members present with the exception of Board Member Naffa, and we're going to have an update from Dominic. Sorry.
Dominic, I can't hear you. Is this? I mean, I can kind of hear you.
Is that better?
There you go.
There we got
There
it.
you
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so we got the first quarter report for the AVA program, and so it exhibits the revenues that we received, the $5,449.22, our first quarter installment, and then reflects the towing costs that we have spent, disposal fees, and then the pumping fees to get the septic pumped on the RVs and whatnot, and that came in about $4,795.04. Not very many vehicles towed. We were still kind of recovering from that surprise fee that the DMV provided for us. And then the bulk of them tows, as you can see, are RVs and trailers, which do eat up a lot of the funds. You guys
Okay.
have any questions or anything on the?
Chair,
Yeah.
just wanted to share, since I know you don't get this a lot, but I've had a lot of response from constituents in District 3 that are extremely happy about the quickness at which abandoned vehicles are being addressed and removed from unsightly areas. So
Excellent.
that needs to go directly back to you. It's something that your department handles solely, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's good to hear that good feedback.
Yep. Especially folks in Gasky.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, good.
Thank you.
Do we have any public comment regarding our update for the AVA? Seeing none, we'll close public comment, and we will adjourn as the Abandoned Vehicle Abatement Authority and reconvene as the Del Norte Solid Waste Management Authority, and we will return to our agenda. And let me get all the way back to the beginning of our agenda here. And we have a lot of pages. Okay, so we have some items under consent, the minutes from December 11th, 2017, a transfer in the amount of $39,853.52 for sublease rental payments, the budget transfer for $11,601, and approve a payment claim 8087 in the amount of $6,300 for invoice 9599 from Patel Associates for the audit.
Chair, motion to approve consent agenda items 1.1 through 1.4.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second?
I have a second. Do we have any public comment on our consent agenda? Seeing no public comment, we'll close public comment and bring it back to the board. Any final thoughts? No? Would you please poll the vote?
Commissioner Cowan?
Yes.
Commissioner Greeno?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Chair Enscore?
Yes, very good. We'll move into our treasurer reports. Mr. Ward?
Yes, thank you, Chair Enscore. Thank you for approving the consent agenda. Just summarizing some of the activities of the authority since the last report. We are doing outreach currently to advertise the opening of Hambro Forest Products' new buyback service at the Del Norte County Fairgrounds. So that is open from Wednesdays through Saturdays from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. We're delighted that buyback service is once again available through the county. That's for your bottles and cans only. Separate the materials for recycling. Please take the lids off. But it's a place you can get your nickels back. And again, that's at the Del Norte County Fairgrounds, Wednesdays through Saturdays from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. We're also starting ads to reduce the proportion of trash in Recology Del Norte's programs by using only transparent plastic bags to contain office paper, paper shreds, and open junk mail. There's no other reason to have any plastic bags in your recycling bin, and the board has determined that black bags are no longer allowed in the recycling bin, but to avoid the confusion and saying no black bags, we're just saying only transparent bags are allowed in the recycling now, and those are available at Home Depot, Safeway, and Walmart. So if you want to get your transparent bags, that's where to get them, but if you do have black plastic bags, those are absolutely fine in the trash only. That's the only place black bags belong. If it's in a black bag, it is trash by definition. We're also going to be issuing press releases, and there's a sample in your board packet, that the Del Norte County Transfer Station will be closed from Friday, February 2nd at noon until regular opening on Monday, February 5th at 8 a.m. So we'll be closed that weekend of February 3rd and 4th. However, the Gasky and Klamath transfer stations will be open regular hours. So the Gasky transfer station is open Saturday from 10 to 4 on February 3rd, and the Klamath transfer station is open on Sunday, February 4th from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. So there's alternatives for people who have trash and have that urgent need to dispose. We're here for you, but not at the Del Norte County transfer station that weekend because we do need to be repairing the floor. In December, I did attend, at the board's direction, the Rural Counties Environmental Services Joint Powers Authority. I also met with Cal Recycle staff to talk about the opportunities and questions related to the pilot programs. Regarding landfill closure, we'll talk about that later this meeting. We did complete the landfill repairs. We will also covered that. And the rest of the issues will be covered at the meeting with the exception of two additional items. One is the Pledge of Revenue Agreement, which will be coming back to this board for consideration, as well as the city and the county. But that is still under review by the Cal Recycle legal staff. So we're waiting for their review, and then we'll bring it back. And then also, all of our authority staff are now trained in CPR, so we're prepared should there be that emergency need, but hopefully that won't be happening anytime soon. And then during this last review period, we did also sign a side letter essentially to comply with AB 119, essentially giving the union the opportunity to address new employees. But we don't have any immediate new employees, so it's just a matter of checking that box and making sure we're in compliance. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions regarding the director's report?
Feedback on the plastic bags, has that ad, I saw 3 ads go out. Are all 3 running right now?
No, the radio ads have not yet been recorded, so we're not running those. However, the outreach to Recology Del Norte customers has gone out. So they sent out a letter, and they have reached out to their customers, which are, of course, mostly the people who are the target audience for this.
Okay, so that went out in the billing?
Yes, it did.
Okay, and then the radio ads for the clear plastic bags, when will that start?
Probably, I would say later this week.
Okay, and they had, what was the date we gave them till? Like mid-February?
February 1st is
Okay.
the date in which plastic, if it's a black plastic bag and it's recycling, that person's cart will be tagged.
Okay, so basically they'll run a week. I don't know.
That's correct, in terms
About
of
a
the
week.
outreach and advertisement,
week.
in addition to the letters and the previous articles that have been in the paper.
Okay, thanks.
Chair. Director, I was hoping that you could address one of the discussions that we had last week specific to Hambro and their great job they're doing with getting the recycling piece back up and running here in the county, but maybe some communication outreach that Joel wouldn't mind having with us specific to the bottle cap issue. Not sure how best to address some of this communication gap that we may or may not have with constituents in the county, what they were used to with Jalindra and now what they need to get used to under Hambro's management of a recycling area at the fairgrounds. But I do know that communication does need to take place. I'm hoping that there could be some exchange here with this group. So not only is this meeting advertised publicly, it's also on the airwaves, and hopefully people tuning in we could get the message out that way. But hoping you could address some of those concerns that constituents brought to me specific to bottle caps on plastic bottles and what you would like to see in the waste stream for recycling. Yeah, if you could, please. And I know the director might also wish to chime in too with some ideas.
So, Joe Wallen, Hambro WSG. As we got started, we realized that a lot of facilities did not accept the bottle caps. And CalRecycle allows the recycler to determine whether they're going to take them or not. So I think that's a little bit of the confusion for the public, is that the recycler gets to make that choice, and it's actually contamination. So for that reason, we decided not to take it. So that's pretty much it, really. There's not a lot more to it. I know there's been a few folks that, have had issues with the bottle caps and that Jalindra took them before. But the early advertising, and ever since we've had it open, we've been telling everyone no bottle caps. So it'll just take time for the public to catch on, and hopefully they'll do that quickly.
Yeah, my hope is that this forum could help get that message out there.
So, Joel, just make sure we're clear, because previously at Jalindra, they wanted, depending on when you went in, I guess, and who was working, they wanted the bottle caps off, but they still took them in with the stream. So what you're saying is, take the bottle caps off, throw it away, they're not going at all.
That's right.
Okay,
Yep.
just want to make sure, because before, I know as a recycler myself, I just took everything off and they were in the bottom of my bin, and they, dumped all the caps with the bottles, they just didn't want them on. So you're saying that the caps don't go, period,
Right.
For buyback.
for buyback?
For
They can go in the
buyback.
recycling,
That's
in
correct.
your regular recycling bin, but for buyback purposes, the caps
Right.
don't come at all.
Think of it as any of the other products that aren't included in the CRV, a soap container that you do for your laundry. You'll turn it over, it'll have a number on it that says it's recyclable, but it's not CRV. Caps are the same category.
Caps, same thing. Okay, that's good
So,
information.
and for the people watching at home and people who are who subscribe to Recology, Del Norte's curbside recycling service, the caps are recyclable. They're typically number 5 plastic, but they're not recyclable for CRV. So if you are at home and you're wondering what the right thing to do with your plastic bottles, take the lid off, put both the cap and the bottle in your recycling bin.
Okay.
Confusing regulations, but thanks for sharing.
No problem. Thank you.
You wonder why people get upset in the state of California.
You think? Yeah.
Follow on with that, I did meet with Randy this morning to talk about further outreach, and we will include the please remove all your caps as part of that outreach.
I really appreciate that,
Yeah.
Director.
Excellent. All right. You want to go ahead and go on with the financials?
Sure. Regarding the financial reports, the authority's cash balance is currently $1,094,614.66 plus the $188,177, which is our last month's rent. So our balances continue to improve. Kathy Brewer is doing an excellent job keeping our accounts receivable up to date. You can see that our outstanding balance is kept pretty low there. Regarding the claims approved by director, once again, you can see that the biggest payment was to Hambro WSG for their good services operating the Del Norte County Transfer Station. And you see also our annual permit payment to the State Water Resources Control Board as being the biggest items for the last month. Regarding our cash flow, generally...
Mr. Ward, can I
Yes.
ask one question? Is the, under claims approved, is the 343993 to the county community development department, is that
Yes.
associated with the landfill, the repairs, the fire? There's a, it's budget, it's on 12/18/2017, community, Del Norte
I
Community
believe
Development?
that's probably primarily for water testing. They did do, I'd have to look back at the specific invoices. They certainly did do some work with us, working on the designs for some of the landfill repairs, in
Okay.
addition to helping us with water testing. So it could have been
Okay.
either one of those things. But we appreciate the county's engineering services, and we pay them for those services.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Concluding the financial reports, generally, you can see that we still remain ahead of budget. So even though our revenues in November and December are down, because that's natural, that's part of the winter cycle, but we are still, even with considering the adjustments that we've made, we're still $35,000 ahead of budget on the authority fees from the Del Norte County Transfer Station, and for franchise fees, we're $7,875 ahead of budget. So, once again, our balances look good.
I just, if I'm, and it's always a challenge when I'm looking at these electronically, because I could turn my head sideways. So not only are we $35,000 ahead of budget, but we're almost $54,000 ahead of where we were last year at this time?
That is correct, sir. Yes.
Awesome. Good. Okay, thank you.
And that concludes the financial report.
Squirrel it away. Just saying. You never know when you're going to have another floor repair that's needed.
Yeah, there's a lot of floor yet to, okay, any questions regarding any of our financials? Any public comment? All right, let's move on to landfill post-closure.
If I could ask for Christina's help? Okay. Okay. All right, we'll just go, could I back one slide maybe? There we go. Okay, so this is a discussion of the landfill repairs. Due to storm damage from storms in December 2016, and then we had fire damage in October 2017 before we were able to begin the repairs from the previous storms. Next slide, please. Oh, okay, maybe it works on me. So here's some of the damage. You can see we had pretty severe erosion rills, damage to the point where you could even see some of the liners underneath. And the storm damage really occurred primarily in 3 areas. So we defined those 3 areas and worked with the county to devise some fixes. Before the fixes were complete, we had a fire on October 6, 2017. There was a rapid and pretty thorough response from the fire department agencies, though the loader owned by the county that was left on the landfill site was totaled and remains an art project of some kind at the top of the landfill. So the fire damage was extensive on the southeast portion of the landfill, to the point that those drainage structures that are highlighted in orange, really the one that's elongated there burned completely out. So you can see that divot there is essentially where there was once a full round plastic drain pipe that was consumed in the flame. And on the right-hand side, you can see after the repair. Because these drainage structures were damaged from the fire, those were the more urgent repairs. Even though we had plans to do the storm repairs, we had to do the fire repairs first, because you can imagine if a heavy storm hits that rill right there, we could lose the whole hillside. So that was, even though it was after the fact, it was a higher priority activity. So here again, you can see some additional fire damage. You can see the damage here that again was repaired. So getting to the storm damage repairs, here's area 1. Let's see, so area 1 is here. So you can see we had pretty dire damage, and then that's repaired here in the after image. On Area 2, that's on the north end of the landfill. You can see the erosion rill continued all the way down the slope. And again, it was repaired and reseeded. I'd like to thank Kira for doing all of the reseeding and overseeing this repair project. Overseeing the repair project too. So Area 3 was the major area of damage, and you can see how bad that was. Severe erosion rills, totally, this is a settling basin, so there normally is a pit there instead of a mound. And then as part of the repair, we installed a perforated drainage pipe, so hopefully that interior rock-covered drainage channel will be able to hold more water over the years. So Area 3 completed. You can see it's also reseeded, and so the repairs are now complete. I just talked to Mac McIntosh of the California Department of Office of Environmental Services today, and he will be coming in next Wednesday for final inspection, where we hope to apply for reimbursement. So on the whole, the landfill repairs cost $97,650. The fire repairs cost $14,072, but all repairs are complete. And we're looking to approve the final payment to Hemmingson Contracting for completing the landfill repairs. And that amount of the final invoice is $42,400. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I make the motion to approve the claim, which is number 8086 in the amount of $42,400 for invoice number 00833331, Hemmingson Contracting Company.
I'll second that.
Construction.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion up here? Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, we'll bring it, close public comment, and bring it back to the authority. Would you please poll the vote?
Commissioner Cowan?
Yes.
Commissioner Greeno?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Chair Enscore?
Yes, very good. Good to have that completed. Thank you for all your good work. We have nothing under the collections franchise. We do have the transfer for repair, which Director's already mentioned. I don't think we have any action that we have to take on that, do we?
No, sir. Just a press release, which we will be putting out immediately.
Okay.
Just, are we sure it's going to be done in 2 days?
We are.
confident with
American
that, but
Restore came for a preliminary walkthrough in addition to the
In
pre-bid
December?
walkthrough. So this is
Okay.
the second or third time they've visited the site and looked at exactly what needs to be done. They've discussed the staging about where the material goes. But yes, it is a pretty, thank you for acknowledging that it is actually pretty incredible to pour a slab and have it be one of the most heaviest used piece of concrete in the county and have it essentially poured over the weekend and ready to work on Monday. It's incredible. It is. But we are paying a pretty penny for this. So the total cost of this is $165,030 plus engineering oversight. So it's not cheap, but it is essentially an ironclad epoxy floor when we're done. And it will last us a good long time. So, and this is the heaviest used portion of the floor. And in addition, while they're here, we are taking advantage of that, and we're having them repair one of the scale ramps. One of the things that has happened over the years, we took the scale that was operating out at the Crescent City landfill, and to try to save money for the community, we moved that scale from the landfill out to the transfer station. And so this is what's known as a weigh bridge scale. So it's like a bridge, and it sits upon the two ramps. And so what has happened over time is that the two edges of those ramps have crumbled a little bit. So the place where it's crumbled the most, we're going to reinforce that ramp, and so hopefully it will last us a good long time. That's folded in, so that's included with the $165,000.
You have to take them out fishing or something.
But the main message that I really want the community to get is the main transfer station in Crescent City will be closed Saturday, February 3rd, and Sunday, February 4th. Will be open again on Monday. And if you really have to dispose of things on Saturday, February 3rd, you can go to Gasky, and on Sunday, February 4th, you can go to the Klamath transfer station.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Let's move on then to this discussion on ordinance 2018-01.
And thankfully, Autumn Luna is here. This is an update of our informal bidding procedures, but essentially, it's the process that we go through if the dollar amount isn't so high that we have to go through competitive bids.
Yeah, and I will only add that that amount has changed substantially over the last 11 years. So the last time you adopted informal procedures was in 1997. In 2018, the threshold is now $175,000 for informal bidding. Anything below can be done by informal. Anything above has to go through the formal bidding process. This is under the Public Contracts Code. In 1997, I'm just guessing, it was probably 25,000, maybe 50,000. So this is,
Above 175.
anything below 175, we do informal. Anything above, we have to go through the formal bidding process. So this is just updating to keep pace with the Public Contracts Code itself.
Great.
Any other questions? I just note on section 3 under repeal, shouldn't that be ordinance 9704? Isn't that the one that's being repealed?
Yes, I'm sorry, I was supposed to mention that. Section 3, ordinance number 9704, that's correct?
So
Yeah.
there's a correction there.
Yeah. And it looks like it's correct everywhere else. So the board will, if
We're
you vote
waiving-
to approve,
yeah.
you can approve it with that change.
change.
Yeah.
So we're introducing this today and waiving full reading. It'll be coming back at our next meeting for approval, I believe, right?
I don't know. It says possible adoption today. I don't see that there's any reason why you couldn't adopt it today.
Oh, okay.
Right, it doesn't involve rates or anything.
No, this is, again, just keeping pace with the Public Contracts Code. Very common to update it periodically as the Public Contracts Code itself is updated. So
Okay.
I don't see a reason why you couldn't adopt it today.
All right.
Do we need to
Do you-
remove Kimmy's name off of this, or does that matter either?
Of course.
Yeah, but that will be another change for the city component.
I think a hand-corrected change in terms of updating who the clerk is, that would be adequate.
Just
Agree.
out of curiosity, does the city have the same bar set of that threshold of 175,000?
I would guess so, if it's based on the building code, so, but I don't know
Public
if we've
Contracts
updated,
Code.
but Public Contracts
Yeah.
Code. Whether or not we've updated our ordinance or not, I would not know, right, off the top of my
I
head.
it's
don't know
essentially-
either, but you should. I know that the Harbor Commission recently updated theirs, so I think that this change was probably fairly recent, and so all the boards are going through and making that change.
It's essentially a time and cost savings.
Oh,
for the authority.
absolutely.
Huge.
Yeah, that is the purpose of this. There is absolutely no reason for us to have anything but the informal bidding threshold set where the Public Contracts Code sets it.
Yeah.
And if we do informal bidding, obviously there's lots of steps that the board can avoid. Anybody wanting to go and look at what the formal bidding procedures are, they can go to 22,000 at SEC of the PCC, and yeah, it's more complicated, so this is a cost-saving measure.
Very good. Chair, I'd like to make that motion then to adopt ordinance 2018-01, repealing ordinance 97-04 and adopting new information binding procedures under the Uniform Construction Cost Accounting Act.
Would you also note the two changes we need to make under section
Including-
3 and then the
Yes,
signature
including
page?
section 3 repeal, which would be revising that language to 97-04 and removing Kimi Scott as the city clerk, to be determined.
It'll get to the city in time. It'll be Robin Patch as interim city clerk.
Okay,
Thank you.
so noted.
All right. Do you have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do you have any public comment? Seeing no public comment, we'll close public comment and bring it back to the board. Would you please pull the vote?
Commissioner Cowan?
Yes.
Commissioner Greeno?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Chair Square?
Yes. Very good, thank you. Okay, so now so that will be forwarded on to the Board of Supervisors and the City Council.
Yes, sir.
Their approval then. if you will send that immediately, we will put it on our meeting on Monday.
Okay, we'll do that.
We had agenda review today, but I will be happy to add that. Okay, 6.2. I think, Richie's still here? I think we're just going to pass on this one.
It's probably a good idea.
Hide behind that chair. All right, so after how many years we're going to formalize this agreement?
Yes, Rich Taylor has been functionally the treasurer-controller of this agency since its formation, since August 93. He's served well in this capacity, and while he's been repeatedly reappointed, we discovered he didn't actually have a written contract, and so we thought we should fix that. So we're proposing that we adopt the attached agreement. Nothing significant changes in this agreement. We're still budgeting the same amount for treasurer services at $8,000 a year, and his hourly rate is not changing. And it is lower than the typical rate that a certified public accountant would charge. So we're grateful for his services, and I'd recommend that we adopt this agreement.
I make a motion.
I'd second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Public comment?
If we've been operating without a contract for all this time, why is it necessary to all of a sudden have a contract?
It's better practice to have a contract in general, and not having a contract while it had gone on for a long time, it's not how we like to do business as a public agency. Plus, the treasurer controller has a very specific role with respect to this agency, and while it's called out in our joint powers agreement and some of our bylaws, it's only appropriate, since we have written documents calling out a treasurer controller, that we also have a written contract establishing that relationship.
Okay. Thank you.
I wonder if I could ask the board's indulgence and go back to item 5 on the agenda for some public comment. Would that be okay with the director? Item 5, the transfer station?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we go ahead and finish this, and then we'll come
Certainly.
back?
Yes,
Jay?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let's take care of this, and we'll come back. Thank you. All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve this contract. And you have any other public comment on the contract? Would you please pull the vote?
Commissioner Cowan?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Greeno?
Yes.
Chair and Score?
Yes. All right, so back to the transfer station regarding the floor. I did not open up public comment to talk about the floor. Please, I'm sorry.
I didn't want to embarrass you.
No, that's okay. Hey, listen, I'm like a broken clock. I'm right twice a day without trying. Beyond that, it's a mystery.
I understand. Well, I came here to gripe, but I also want to come here and say something good, okay? So I want to tell the board and Director Ward that your transfer station is excellent. It's very well ran, very easy to understand how to get around in there. The staff is good, they're very friendly. My wife and I have made several trips there, and they do an outstanding job. I want to go also on to say that the curbside recycling, I'm a subscriber, Recology does an excellent, excellent job. They're on time, the staff is friendly, we have elderly folks on my street, they'll get out of the truck, they'll help them with their containers, which you might not want to hear that, but they do. So I think they do an outstanding job, so you need to know that. I also think if the board decides there's an opportunity to expand curbside service, I certainly think it could work. So I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Jay.
Very much appreciate the compliments, but I definitely want to share that with Hambro WSG, because while a lot of people who come to the transfer station thinks we're all one big thing, and in some ways we are, our authority personnel operate the gates, and all of the rest of the operations are Hambro WSG employees, and they do a fine job for us.
Very good. Thank you. All right, thank you for taking us back, Jake. I appreciate that. That is worth me saying I missed something for us to get some good positive reviews. We need that for our people. All right, let's move on to 6.3, our injury illness prevention program and code of safe practices.
This is more for information, for the board's information. This is required under state law, and we haven't updated in some time. While we had many of these staff trainings and emergency procedures in place, they had not been consolidated into a single document, and we're now under staff review at this point, but it is intended to be a living document, and I thought I would share it with the board. So really no action unless the board identifies anything that they think needs improvement or correction.
Okay. Anybody? Any public comment on this new updated document? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. We already took care of the abandoned vehicle abatement, so we are at the end of our agenda. And Mr. Ward, unless you have something else you need to share with us, or anybody on the authority have anything that you need to express? Okay, very good. Then we'll stand adjourned till our next meeting, Tuesday, February 20th. Thank you.